The Israeli cabinet begins a meeting to vote on a ceasefire deal with Hezbollah. The Prime Minister's spokesperson says an agreement will likely be approved. Lebanon's foreign minister is also sounding a note of optimism.
We wanted to stop it because the country was paralyzed, although it is in few parts of the country the fighting was, but the country as a whole is paralyzed. And we wanted to finish this and to have a ceasefire. Hopefully by tonight we will have this ceasefire.
In the meantime, Israel keeping up its airstrikes on Lebanon. The conflict has killed more than 3,000 people since it was ignited by the war in Gaza 14 months ago. Video of a strike that took down 2 buildings in Beirut just on Monday. The IDF says it hit 2 command centres belonging to Hezbollah's Executive Council. Nick Robertson in Jerusalem. I mean, there's positivity often before these moments, but more so today than usual.
Yes, I think so. And also the military tempo is up. More than 30 strikes against Hezbollah targets, both in the south of Lebanon, in the southern suburbs of Beirut, in the center of Beirut as well. The one in the center of Beirut, as we understand at the moment, one of those no warning strikes, possibly an effort by the IDF to assassinate a senior Hezbollah official. That's not clear at this time. But the tempo up, coming the other way as well. Kiryat Shimona in the north of Israel, one of those large towns, more than 20,000 people, where the population have been evacuated since October last year. One of the towns, obviously, where the Israeli government, if they get this ceasefire deal, will allow people to go back to. That hit by strikes coming from Hezbollah today. So the military tempo is up. But you're absolutely right. The sort of diplomatic drumbeat in the background is very much there, coming from the Prime Minister's office here. We know that there are hard right-wingers in the Prime Minister's government. Itamar Ben-Gvir, the National Security Minister, who said that his advice to the Prime Minister is don't go for a deal, continue against Hezbollah was his instructions to the Prime Minister. But the Prime Minister's office confident. And I think what we're beginning to get a sense of is not just the concerns and what the Israeli government wants to achieve out of this, but how it will actually happen. The defense minister here saying that that it cannot be a situation like it was before. Israel will strike back at any threat as soon as it sees it, adding that the UN, who, as we understand from the ceasefire deal, how it looks as we expect it to be, would be filling the military vacuum when the Hezbollah and the IDF pull back from that area. The UN would be part of the force there, saying that the UN must be up to doing that task. And from the Lebanese foreign minister at the G7 there in Rome, we're getting details of how the Lebanese army will be reinforced in that border zone. 5,000 Lebanese army troops there already. He said an additional 5,000 coming in. So it's not a done deal yet. The vote's coming. There's the confidence. And we're beginning to get a shape of what it may look like, Max.
And there is opposition within the Israeli cabinet where the feeling is that Hezbollah should be completely destroyed before any ceasefire.
Yeah, and the question for the Prime Minister has been meeting with his coalition partner parties earlier on today, Itamar Ben-Gvir being one of those ministers who is a very powerful voice, but one of, as we understand, 11 votes when it comes down to it. A simple majority carries the day. Bezalel Smotrich, the finance minister, hard right as well, follows pretty much where Ben-Gvir goes in terms of, his position. Position on Hezbollah has been to defeat them while they can be defeated while they're weak. So those are 2 votes that appear, at least right now, to be going against the Prime Minister. But he only needs 6. He only needs 6 to win. He can lose 5 votes. Obviously, he wants to see a stronger mandate as possible. So it's not a done deal yet. And the voices, I think, are, there's some nobody knows the details publicly. I mean, that's the bottom line here. So we don't quite know the precise nature of the concerns. But we do know that people in opposition are saying that the deal must enshrine Israel's ability to be able to strike back. The more hawkish are saying it really should continue the war while it's got Hezbollah on the run. And I was speaking last night with somebody who lives just a mile from the border in that evacuated zone in the north of Israel. And he said, look, up here, we all feel really sold out by the Israeli government. He said, we don't think we're getting anything different here other than the 2006 deal that was UN Security Council Resolution 1701, where after the war in 2006, there was a pause. Hezbollah had been pushed back. But as he said, they came back. And he said, we don't see anything different this time that's going to stop Hezbollah coming back. Lebanese army isn't strong. UN wasn't able to do it before. So he feels that the government here is really, he's calling this a surrender at the moment. Pretty strong language. But he says a lot of others who live where he does, they feel the same. Max?
OK, Nick, back with you as we get an update from that crucial cabinet meeting. Thank you.
With us now is retired Air Force Colonel and CNN military analyst Cedric Leighton. Colonel, great to see you. People can get a sense of what's been taking place in Lebanon over the last several months here. You can see this area in red is where Israel has made ground incursions over the border to root out the Hezbollah militia groups. The areas in yellow here are areas where Israel has called for evacuation so they can carry out airstrikes. So talk to us about a ceasefire deal. Why do you think Israel would agree to this now? What have they achieved in Lebanon?
Well, good morning, John. Yeah, the main thing is that they think that they achieved enough of their military objectives to agree to a ceasefire deal. So basically, the area that you were pointing out is the area that is south of the Litani River. That is basically the borderline between southern Lebanon and basically serves as a buffer zone between Hezbollah forces and the Israelis. Now, what the Israelis want to do is they want to bring their 70,000 or so people that live in northern Israel back into northern Israel. Those people have evacuated their homes, and it's very much in the interests of the Israelis to bring them back to make that region economically viable, or at least attempt to make it economically viable again. As far as Hezbollah is concerned, they've basically been decimated. We had, remember, the Pager attacks and those efforts by the Israelis to go through every single layer of command that Hezbollah has, and to include killing the leader of Hezbollah. So when you go into all of the details here, the Israelis have achieved a considerable portion of their military objectives. And if they push Hezbollah back to above the Litani River, they believe that that will at least give them the breathing space that they need in order to make that region of northern Israel one that they can consider safe and relatively secure.
And just to be clear, Hezbollah negotiating here at a position of weakness, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's really part of the Israeli effort. They've been able to make Hezbollah very much weakened force, and that also means, because Hezbollah is a proxy of the Iranians, that Iran's position against Israel is also a much more weakened position than it was just a few months ago.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit more about that. If there is some kind of a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hezbollah, which again operates inside Lebanon, what would that mean for the region, and what would it mean, or could it mean, for Israel's continued war against Hamas in Gaza?
Yes, so as far as the region is concerned, just before the October 7 attacks from Hamas against Israel from Gaza, there were efforts between Israel and Saudi Arabia to achieve a comprehensive peace settlement. Saudi Arabia is not going to agree to a peace settlement unless there's a deal with Hezbollah and unless there's a deal with Hamas. So this is basically the first stage for the Israelis to try to get back on track that way. In other words, have that track toward a peace settlement with Saudi Arabia and basically other countries in the region. So this is, in essence, an extension of the Abraham Accords that were done during the first Trump administration. Now, as far as Iran is concerned, they are definitely looking at this from a different perspective with their fairly recently inaugurated president, they are looking at a very different way to try to engage with not only Israel, but also with the United States. Now, whether we or the Israelis take them up on that is, of course, a completely different question. But it seems as if the Iranians are starting to begin a bit of a policy of, in essence, making things a bit more of a detente-like situation than was the case just in the last few months.
Look, they've lost some of their assets in the region, to be clear. All right, Colonel Cedric Leighton, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.